A Mozambican national suspected of being a kidnapping kingpin has been shot and killed in a shootout with police and private security. The incident took place on the R21 in Kempton Park on Gauteng's East Rand. Linda Mnisi is live at the scene as we speak. Linda, a good evening to you. Talk to us about what it is that you're seeing there.
All right, Naledi, so what you're seeing is the vehicle that is believed to belong to the suspected kidnapper was gunned down earlier today by police. A couple of minutes ago, before you came to us, the vehicle of the forensic pathologist was leaving the scene with, that the body of this particular individual. And as you can see, the vehicle, showing quite a few damages. I'll just bring you much closer, but we're coming closer because the police are seemingly, about to conclude their work. And I want to bring in the spokesperson of the SAPS, Atlenda Mate. Thank you so much for your time, Atlenda. We see the police are almost done with, their operations, but just talk to us about, this particular incident and what happened here.
Okay. A very good evening and thank you for the opportunity. I can confirm that we have traced and tracked down Mozambican's most wanted kidnapping kingpin. He is one of them. He goes by the name of Dollar Man. Our team, our anti-kidnapping task team, was investigating a case where an Indian businessman was kidnapped in July this year, and our team is still actively searching for that kidnapped businessman. When they then traced this particular wanted kidnapping kingpin, and they tried to corner him. He then rammed into a police vehicle, and he started then shooting at police, and police returned fire, and he was then shot and killed during that confrontation. Unfortunately, none of our police officers were injured or were wounded, during that particular confrontation, which took place earlier this afternoon. So we are aware that this particular suspect was on Sarnik, which is a wanted persons database in Mozambique. We have been in contact with our police attaché in Mozambique, and he has confirmed there were several warrants of arrest for him in Mozambique. So in South Africa, we are linking him to at least 9 cases. 5 of them involve kidnappings for ransom. So what our team has already uncovered is that millions of money was already paid into his bank account in relation to the kidnapping of the Indian businessman who was kidnapped in Johannesburg and is still in captivity. So when they tried to stop him, he then started shooting at police and attacking police.
Was he operating in the field of just kidnapping businessmen, or is it also was he also involved in kidnapping like young women, girls, and all of that? Talk to us about what his speciality was.
Well, at this stage, it looks like these main targets was mostly wealthy businessmen, or I can rather say your economic kidnappings where businessmen are targeted. And in these particular cases, you find that a lot of research goes into it. So it's not random kidnappings. A lot of research, they target businessmen that they know once they start making demands for those millions of rands, they would be able to afford those large sums of money. And that is why, as the police service, we always encourage, citizens to be extra vigilant, businessmen not to overly expose their private lives, especially on social media platforms, because that is also a platform that where these criminals utilize to do their research, to see what kind of lifestyle you live, and they then use that information to track you down and kidnap you and start making demands. But what is also encouraging is that we've got a dedicated unit in the SAPS, the anti-kidnapping task team that was established as far back as 2018, and and the team has done quite great work. I think from 2021 to date, more than 337 kidnappers have been arrested. Several, about 88 vehicles that were used in, the commission of these crimes, in these kidnappings, have been seized, and more than 400 illegal firearms were also seized in these operations. So they've been doing quite great work, and the main priority is to rescue victims alive. So we'd like to encourage the public out there, when you become a victim, or you know of anyone who becomes a victim of a kidnapping, immediately report it to the police service. The first 48 hours are the most crucial. So don't sit there with information. Report it to the police service so that we can start working on that particular case. We can gather as much information as we can. We've got expertise. We've got the capabilities to find your loved ones.
Was he working with other people in this particular kidnapping syndicate? And talk to us then about the cases in Mozambique. What kind of cases was he wanted for in Mozambique?
So we are still waiting for the warrants of arrest, but according to our police attaché in Mozambique, he was wanted for a spate of kidnappings, especially involving the ransoms and so on. But we also know that he was also operating in South Africa. For now, we don't think he was working alone, and that is why our team has left the crime scene, the anti-kidnapping task team. They are in an area in Gauteng where they are following leads to really try and find this kidnapped businessman. So we are hoping for the best. The team is on the ground, and they are still actively searching for this kidnapped businessman.
All right. So it seems that there could be developments, and you're not ruling out more arrests in this operation.
Yes, we cannot rule out the possibility of more arrests. We know that they do not work alone. You'll normally have your ringleaders, your spotters, those that will stay with the victim, the kidnapped victim, monitor him, feed him, and so on. So we are definitely working on a syndicate, a larger syndicate, but we're quite hopeful that our teams will really find those kidnappers, and hopefully find that businessman alive, so that they can reunite him with his family.
And seemingly a cross-border syndicate.
Well, it does look like we have a cross-border syndicate. We have been working quite closely with Mozambique for quite some time, especially where the kidnapping for ransom demands are being made. We have identified several syndicates that have been involved in these kidnappings. We have arrested several of them. As I've indicated, 337 arrested from July 2021 to date. Kidnappers. It involves other illegal foreign nationals that were involved in kidnappings, especially where ransom demands are being made. But I must say, our teams have been making inroads in terms of dismantling and dislodging the work of these organized crime syndicates. And like I've indicated, they're quite organized, but we've been able to take them down, intercept them, and infiltrate them.
And just generally, what is your message to South Africans? I know you were speaking earlier about business people being vigilant and not oversharing their personal lives, but it seems, kidnappings are on the rise, and really nobody is spared. What can you say to South Africans at this particular moment?
Look, it's just to assure South Africans that the SAPS has the expertise, we've got the capabilities to rescue victims alive. We are just obviously relying on the families to come forward quicker. Like I've indicated, the first 48 hours are the most important in terms of information sharing. So don't sit there with information. Report it to the police. We've got the expertise. We've got the capabilities. In recent weeks and months, we've rescued quite a number of victims. And you'll recall the U.S. pastor in the Eastern Cape. It was the police service and the Hawks that have rescued that victim. We also had a number of victims, two businessmen that were in Midrand that were kidnapped during an express kidnappings. And I think the express kidnappings, we're also seeing a rise in them, where it's not necessarily the kidnappings for ransom. It's your hijacking. They kidnap you for quite some time, clean out your bank accounts and so on. So we have been able to really ensure breakthroughs in cases such as those ones. So it's just for South Africans to assure you that we've got the expertise, we've got the capabilities, we've got the capacity to investigate such cases and also to arrest the perpetrators that are behind these kidnappings. We only urge you to be extra vigilant of your surroundings. Don't be so trusting. If you notice anything suspicious, immediately report it to the police. If you think you are being followed or you are a target, bring that information to the police so that we can work on it.
Brigadier Athlenda Mathe, thank you very much for your time. That is Athlenda Mathe, a lady talking to us about this Mozambican kidnapping kingpin that has since been shot dead by the police. Athlenda Mathe describing there a situation of police trying to corner him, but he rammed into one of the police vehicles, and that is why you're seeing the vehicle on your screen right now that is seemingly damaged. And he also, of course, lost his life because, according to Brigadier Athlenda Mathe, he then started exchanging fire with the police and they retaliated. Fortunately, none of the police officers who were involved in this operation, lost their lives or sustained any injury. So it seems it was a successful operation from the police. Quite interesting that Athlenda reveals that this particular individual was linked to quite a number of cases in the country, but also was wanted in Mozambique. She says they're still waiting for quite a number of, arrest warrants which had been issued in Mozambique. And of course, they can, of course, reveal at this point, and they've shared this information with their Mozambican counterparts, that this particular individual has been shot dead. And of course, urging South Africans, particularly business people, to be vigilant during this time, not share, overly share their social lives or their lives or their private lives on social media, which may lead to their kidnapping. He indicates that some of the information that was picked up from this scene is followed up because this particular individual was involved in the kidnapping of another businessman in Johannesburg, which till today police are still looking for. It seems this business person was kidnapped in July and the operations are still underway. They're saying the police are at a particular area, a different area, looking and searching and following leads that they picked up from this particular scene. Already millions, she says, had been paid into his account. So all of it forms part of the investigation. This is not seemingly not just an operation or a syndicate that operates within the country. It's also a cross-border syndicate that she says has been operating, and they believe that he wasn't working alone, and that is why they're following leads, Naledi, and they cannot at this point rule out the possibility of making more arrests. So this seems and looks like a developing story because they're saying they're still looking for this businessman and they're following leads this evening.
Right, Linda Mnisi speaking to us there from Ekurhuleni where it looks like it was quite the scene there that, of course, led to that Mozambican national being shot and killed in that shootout between himself and police, as well as private security. He is, of course, suspected to be a kidnapping syndicate. That taking place on the R21. So a very concerning issue there, and of course a reminder to South Africans to stay safe.